Hello everyone, welcome to Module 4 Revision Guide. So just like every other module test before, we have a really comprehensive revision guide providing all the skills to master and system also practical test focus. Just note tutorial 19 will not include in the practical test, but they will be in the bio quiz. And for this focus, we have 5 questions, so this video gonna make them as streamlined as the procedure of this video, so we can do some review and revisions together. So let's get started. The first thing is like we're going to trying to assign IPs to all the virtual machines, and basically divide them by the Windows family and Linux family. So on CentOS, if you need to configure a gateway for a network, you probably want to go to this wide settings, click on the cog, and you just set to menu and give it a gateway address and subnet mask, everything here. But if you don't need to, you can just need you don't need to if you just need you don't need to configure the gateway or DNS. You can just use if when you are a user, you can just use IPAA, stand for address at. The IP address you want to add the subnet, the network prefix, as I call it, the keyword def, and the network interface you want to assign this IP on. Same thing applies for Kali, so if you're in a Kali, make sure you always log on as the root user if not specified. The network interface name is ETH0, and this is also the same case for Metasploit. The thing is like MSF admin, this user is not root, but it has sudo access, so you will need to use sudo and you assign IP to it with it's a network interface is still ETH0, and you can assign all the IP assigned by just using IPA, and you can see the network interface name and you can see the IP you assigned on them. So this way you can verify that your IP is actually given. For the Windows side, basically you just find this little computer with like an Ethernet cable on it, and you just right click on it, give you network and sharing center. It goes to connections, you find this properties here, you select IPv4 and you assign your IP address here, and you can verify them by just simply click on the details. And in terms of XP, because there's no such thing little here, you can click on, so you just go to control panel, network settings, go to this network connection, so properties. So there's no IPv6 this version of XP, so you just configure the IP address and you can click on support. You can see this IP address here, and this is also the case for Windows 10. This is the case for Windows 10 and Windows 2016 as well. They're just similar to Windows 7. Yeah. I'm actually gonna shut this down because I don't know will this give me any issues. So shut. Okay, cool. So next thing we need to focus on is the Nmap. So Nmap, we're not gonna scan this. We're just gonna pick out the machine to scan, because if you scan Metasploitable, it's gonna take some time. So Nmap. So I think the key of using Nmap is to understand the option. Understand each of the options what Nmap is providing. So Nmap, first thing first, you can concatenate a network address behind it with the network suffix. This is making Nmap to scan the whole network, and you can also use flag or options -s lowercase n or uppercase p for no porting scan. So basically, this is like making you to scan all the live hosts. This is like unlocks you the potential to find live hosts on the network, but do not like spend lots of time on scanning the ports of all these hosts. So you will have like a more condensed output, and of course you can put IP address for a single host and try to scan on them. So TCP, this thing have this three-way handshake. Between you and the target, You send S1N as greetings, and the target will respond to you with S1N and acknowledge and AC key, and you respond with AC key, so that the sequence number will be increasing. So in order to do this 4-3-way handshake, you use -st, and you can use -ss, or you just don't put anything here. You will start a S1N scan. So basically, you will just set S1N, the target will respond with your S1N acknowledge, and you just don't do anything else. We probably will be sending RST acknowledge for resetting the connection. So you can also just send in acknowledge by SE, and you can also do a thing called Christmas scan. I'm just checking if I'm recording. Do a Christmas scan. So Christmas scan is like, so sending S1 is like you are saying hello, your greetings with hello, but Christmas scan is like you are greeting your target machine by just saying goodbye, and your target machine will be really confused, and the opening pause on it will be like, okay, what the heck is this? Dude, it's not legit. So they will remain silent. But for all the close pause on this target machine, they will be like, okay, because the TCP protocol standard, they will have to give you a feedback of the reset acknowledge. I believe that's the feedback. So in this way, the open port will remain silent, but the closed port will give you something. So it still provides the opportunity, like, for you to know, okay, which port is open, which port is closed, but it's just doing this in a different way. And you can also use -p to specify port or ports to scan, and you can give it a range you want to scan. And you can also use -o for OS detection, so Nmap will actually try to guess the system's your target host or operating system information. It's quite accurate. Or you can use -v for verbose. So whenever Nmap finds something, it will try to print out this thing to the standard output immediately, instead of trying to make everything in the concatenated summary or report at the end. It will still provide this, but when Nmap finds something, it'll give you some information. The other thing is, like, if you want to find vulnerability, so Nmap supports scripts, so pre-written scripts other people has been written, and you can run the group of script by just using the script group name. So one is this kind of group that will provide you the information about let's use XP, so it's 1.3. Provides you the information about vulnerabilities found on this machine, and they will give you related CV notation for that. And the OS detection, yeah, as you can see, the Nmap give you some options. It could be Windows 7, could be Windows Server 2008, or could be R2 version of it, or could be Windows 8, could be Windows 8.1, but it's pretty accurate. And also you have all the other information from the Nmap scan. This is gonna take a while, so let's just wait for that. And the next thing we need to focus on is the Metasploit framework. And to start it, you just click on this icon, or you just search for Metasploit framework, and it will actually start the database and give you this Metasploit interactive command line interface. Oh, and Nmap finished the job. As you can see, for XP, it found 2 vulnerabilities. This one I'm going to use a lot. And we will give you CV notations on that. And we have something else. Cool. And let's close this. So after you start the MSF, supposedly you should have a different command prompt. Here, the MSF16. So this means you are now in the MSF interactive environment instead of a bash. So in this module, we utilize 2 payloads. So the first one is the VNC inject, and the other one is the metapreter. So VNC is a remote control protocol that you can use TCP reverse connect to it to try to control or glimpse on the machine's desktop, so graphical interface. And the Meterpreter is a command-based tool, so this unlocks you the potential to maintain access after you exploit the target machine, and you can also do lots of things because it's a quite powerful tool overall. So we're gonna target this on XP7, Windows XP, Windows 7, and Windows 10, and we're gonna utilize two exploit called a net API one or a canker one. So let's start it from the XP. So first thing you need to specify the exploit you want to use. So the one we want to use on Windows XP. So first thing we can check for SMB. This will give you lots of things, but you can just search net API. Simply find this exploit you want to use. So you use the exploit and you set the payload you want to use. So let's do VNC first. So Windows VNC inject with TCP. So your payload is set, and I believe you will need to specify the target, and the target is I believe R host. That's how they call it, and Windows XP is 3. I'm sorry, I'm being quite conscious about this because actually this VNC thing actually failed to start on XP so many times, so this is why I tried to do this first. And of course we need to check all the payloads we have already. Yeah, we're already setting the payloads. Should we set this again? At our host, set our host to ourselves, of course. Our host for the target, our host, the listening host, is ourselves, it's Kali itself. And of course, this is VNC, so let's see options to unlock all the options we are having here. Looks fine, looks fine. I'll just check if we can pin XP. Sorry, I'm being conscious. Okay. And this view only option because it's a remote control protocol, so in order for you to control the machine instead of just looking at it, probably set this to false so you can control the XP desktop environment. Let's see if this time, okay, thank God, it actually works. It doesn't work before. So now let's greet our beloved XP user. Yeah, Asperon and whatever. Okay, very good. So now we utilize this exploit. If this thing got fixed, probably already been, but we want to remain this access to XP, we're going to utilize something called Meterpreter, the other payload we're working on. So I'm pretty sure we are still using the same exploit, so let's just go to them and set our host to XP as well, just in case we set every attributes, and we set this payload instead of VNC inject. Let's go to Meterpreter, reverse TCP, and we can, of course, we need to set our host right to ourselves, and we are 2 for that. Now we can just exploit, see if this works. Okay, it probably doesn't work because because supposedly I should reset the network state, right? But it seems like it works. Yeah, I'm already here. So it's a really powerful tool, Meterpreter. The system info should give you information on the system. Currently we are in system 32. We can use ipconfig to see the network information about XP. That's exactly it. And we can take a screenshot. Let's see if we can have the screenshot of XP. We should have some windows here. Yep, correct. Okay, so this is actually working quite well. Also, you can use hash dump to dump all the users on this machine with their name and their hashed password. So Meterpreter works on your target machine as a little paradise. So it's literally lives on a process and trying to make everything work. But different process on the system have different permissions, and they can access different things. So in order to control the system, you probably want to find a process that has bigger permission to everything. And one of the thing is the explorer.exe, your file explorer on Windows. And you can do this by having the PID of it. So 1448, and you just migrate to it. 448. And this will unlock you the potential of doing lots of other things, such as key scan. So if you don't migrate to this explorer.exe, this thing probably not gonna work. And let's just use WordPad, and let's just do some typing randomly, and we can use key scan dump. You can see all the keys you have already entered. And let's just stop the key scan. And as said before, like Meterpreter, one of the best thing it provides is provide the opportunity to for you to maintain access to this machine after the exploit gets fixed. So you do this by ROM persistence, and this command you can use automatically while started, and automatically execute, and range of process can leave on, and return to who is gonna be utilizing this. It's gonna be ourselves, Carly. I'm hearing something else, but that's okay. We can make it properly. So now we have already make our little. We are already plugged into the XP system. Once the system boot up, we should be able to have sessions to come back to it. So let's just restart the XP. Let's hope it doesn't explode again. So this dialog will prevent such restart. Let's just close that, and you can use, so let's just, okay, it's closed. So we are back in the MSF command prompt. So in this environment, you can use this command called sessions. Sessions-l for list. It will list all the current sessions that you can utilize or connect to, and you can use them by use I and plus concatenate the ID to it. So let's just find if XP finish restart. Okay, it's not. It's apparently not. Okay, do we still have the? Yep. Now now the XP just restarted, and the Meterpreter access. The Meterpreter is already running on the XP, and we can. The session has been automatically created, and we can screenshot to see this is the new session. It should be empty with nothing on the desktop. Yes. So basically that's XP, and the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use Meterpreter on Windows 7. So in order to do that, we should use a different exploit, and this exploit is actually, I'm quite curious. Can we just search Anchor? Yes, we can. So now we can just select this exploit we're going to utilize, and we switch to this this exploit, and I think it's actually default using Meterpreter. So just in case, I'm just going to set payload. Probably do not need to do this, but I'm going to do this anyway. So yeah, so we are using Meterpreter here on this new exploit, and we also need to set up all the some other attributes while we are using this exploit. So this exploit is actually utilizing IE8 on Windows 7. You can show targets, I believe, yeah. So second one is what we're gonna go, so we can set target right here. So we're gonna provide, like supposedly gonna do some social engineering. You're gonna give this link to your Windows 7 user and make it put in the IE8. And let's just set something for this link, so we can specify as RV host. I believe it's called itself. And SR we should also have a port, and that's just to port 80 for HTTP. We can set, what else, URI path, something it's called. So basically how this link, the rest of the link after your IP address or like your domain name gonna look like. Let's do cat videos because everyone likes cats. And we have already set the target. What else? Of course, the listening host. That's gonna be us. 2, yeah. So 192.1.1.2 is actually it. So now let's start exploit, and we do this like phishing. So it's going to provide you with this link, and this is like the fish food you put on the hook, and this is a big fish. You just try to lure this giant fish to eat your fish food you put on the hook by simply doing this. And you can see Kali is already sending packages, stage stuff, and we'll actually do much more, like migrating the process to Explorer for you, yeah, like he's doing right now. And trying to do the exploit. So I supposedly will stop working, give you some window. If you didn't select the target makes the automatic, it's gonna be like stopping working, give you a dialog loss of time. So you need to close them again. But if it happens, just close the dialog, otherwise we'll halt the process. And I think this should be done. If you set the targets, that won't be an issue. And if you go sessions-arrow, you can see now we have this sessions connect to root PC, which is exactly the host name of Windows 7 and the root user on the Windows 7. And we can connect to it by using sessions-I Windows, I believe it's 6, sorry. If I have IS, that would be wonderful. Oh, something changed. No, yeah, I don't need this ID. It's already used. And sessions-I 6. And this is scene for it's Windows 7. And let's give Windows 7 a screenshot. Yep, and we got it. And supposedly I stopped working. So this is for Windows 7, and for the Windows 10 it's a similar phishing. So this time instead of like using Kali, it's instead of using a link and let the user put the link into the browser, we need to let the user have a executable program and make them run it, and this involves social engineering for them for sure. But for this thing, we are not going to use any exploit. We just use like a general handler. This is like on the multi-handler, and you config. You need to set the payload first. Yeah, let's set the payload. It's going to be VNC injection. So what we're going to do is just like we did to XP before. So Windows VNC inject reverse TCP, and you set L host. Of course, it's gonna be me, Kali, and this time we specify a port we're gonna be listening on. L stand for listening. That's gonna be 444, and we're gonna because this is a let's just show options to check all the attributes, and because this is a VNC connection, let's set the view only to false so we can actually control the machine. And so now we have the setup of fishing ready. Now we need to prepare our fish food. So it's actually, so instead of link, we need to prepare this executable file, and we do this by a MSF command called MSF warning. And similar as what you do in the MSF command prompt, you specify the payload you're gonna utilize, and it's gonna be, we'll see, inject reverse TCP underscore TCP, the platform you're gonna use. So this time we're gonna target Windows 10. Of course, it's gonna be Windows, and the file type is exe, executable on Windows, and you config the L host specified as in the MSF command prompt before. So L host gonna be Kali itself, and port specified 444 before, it's gonna be 444 this time again. And the output of this file, so I'm just gonna put this on my desktop, just choose KIT726 and run XCAS, and some flagrant wrong, probably I can't spell something. Port -o -p platform, not platform. And this will give you an executable file for Windows on the desktop. And it's like the link before. You probably want to do some social engineering, pass it to the Windows 7 user. Now you pass this to the Windows 10 user, and we're gonna eliminate this process by simply just copy and paste. And let's see if this works. I just can't check it out. Oh, this time I can. Very good. And let's just call Windows 10, and this is our big giant fish. Let's just copy it here, and where's Carly? Carly is am I still recording? I hope I'm recording. Yep. Okay, so now we can start fishing. So Carly side, we just start exploit. Let's just last check, show options. Everything is all good. Everything seems all good. So let's start exploit, and we should be fishing. And from Windows side, cat. I'm the Windows 10 user loving cat. And let's go back to Carly. Already sending stages, and we should have like a tiny VNC session pretty soon. Yes, and now we can send a little message to our beloved Windows 10 user. Okay, I'm not even gonna bother. It's so laggy. Okay, so I believe this is all for the Metasploit framework, and we'll proceed on the question 4. So let's just close this. Alright, thank you. Let's just close this, and we'll proceed on question 4, which is all about SSH. So if you have already done tutorial 15 with Assemble, as that tutorial you config the automatic SSH to your client design from Assemble server. And if you are doing 501 and 502 before, supposedly you are using ICT Teach and Userme, you probably have already experienced using SSH to those servers and using SCP to copy files between your local machine to those servers. So this is basically configuring and add-ons on that. Keep here the password revision. This is something new. It doesn't have in my version of revision guide. Okay, so we will just start another CentOS client here because I haven't do that. and supposedly we just gonna create this thing here. What is the time? Okay, it's still early. So for the SSH question, you probably want to do this all under the student account except disable password login, because the config file on the etc student does not have the access to edit it. Student, let's give this client this. So this is client 1, this is CentOS 8. So I'm just not gonna bother to change the wallpaper or set a new hostname. It's just next to each other, and I don't think we need client 2 for this. So let's just use terminal. Okay, I'm really bad at password, so let's just give it IP address, pull in the same network 24. Of course, I need to give a network interface, and I should stay at root. So the first thing you probably want to do is to disable password login, as the password login for SSH is not that safe. Lots of bots are trying to brute force port 22 for public IPs, trying to just log on with brute force password, this kind of thing. So to configure this, you will need to edit the config file for SSH. So just like every single static config file, if they follow the POSIX standard, it's on the etc sshd underscore config, and you go to exactly line 70. If you are using Vim, 70 uppercase G will bring you to the line, or you can just use this thing, the number, give you like number of lines. So it's not this commented out thing, it's this one without a hash at the start of it, and you change this thing to no, and you use systemctl to reload this SHD daemon process. And so this is 11, right? So if I'm on the machine, the same network, this is 1, I'm trying to SSH to the 1.11. If I'm trying to use password, no, there's no password login for me now. So in order to do that, we're gonna use this SH key pair. So this is like so SSH literally works as you use asymmetric encryption to do the authorization, and use symmetric encryption while you transfer the message, but that's after you have that's after you create a tunnel and has already been authorized. So the symmetric part you just won't see. The user just care about the asymmetric part, and this thing if you remember stuff from 501, it includes a key pair, a public key and a private key, and you always create a key from the virtual machine that wants to connect to others, because you need to keep the private key for yourself. So the server having a public key, when you send the request, will know it's actually you. So the command for doing that is like ssh key agent, and you use -t to specify the type of this key. So use this ed thing. It's a little bit short, but it's more secure than RSC. So use -f to specify where you want this key to be. So normally for each user, it's under the .ssh under their home folder. I just play this thing as well, because I think I'm gonna hold that as well. So just ID student, let's just call this key, and it will ask you to have the passphrase, which is literally another password for a key pair, to add another log secure layer on that. So let's just use student. Oh, I actually got it. I have no idea did I type it correct the first time. So now you have the key. If you go to this SSH folder, you will see you will have the key just specified before. This is your private key, and you will have another thing ended with pub as public, this is your public key, and in order for your server to be able to acknowledge you, you should copy this key, or like you use SSH copy ID, this command, you need to make sure you put this on the server. So we are trying to log on as student, so on the student you create this SSH folder and make sure it has the proper permission for this, 700 for the folder. I'm so lazy, I'm just going to do this. And then you're gonna touch this file called authorized keys, and you give it related permission for SSH neutron, and let's just try to do the same, and you copy the public key for your server that wants to connect to this client, and you can simply do this, and you can also just specify the IP address, because on the server and the client the user are same, they're all called student, so you can just omit the student add port, and I believe it's 11. So when I create this key here, I provide a passphrase, so I will enter the passphrase, and now I'm in. So let's make a directory and set hello, and you will see on the client, on the other machine, ls, sorry, not here, ls, you will see this hello folder created in the SSH connected session. And so yeah, but the connection we did here is actually done by just typing the IP address of it. As a human, I don't find like remembering all this number very comfortable. So doing that, so to avoid that, we can create a config file in this, touch config. I actually don't know if you need to change the permission, but I'll just change it anyway. So it's like how you config Apache. You write this config file to set up something handy you can use later. So you will have some syntax, just like host. We're gonna call this client, right? And you need to, the user you want to log on, student, and host name with it's actually what this device actually is. So it's client 1, it's IP 11, and the identity file, I believe, yeah, identity file which is your private key, and for this machine it's under the home folder of student, because I'm logging as student account, the .sh file, and id underscore student, because I call it that way. And the last thing is add keys to agent, and I'm gonna see big yes on that. So next time when you connect to this machine, all you need to do is just SSH client 1, and you will be able to connect to it. So I believe this is question 4. So for question 5, you will need to config rules and maybe some hosts on CentOS and Windows 2016 Server Firewall. So on CentOS, there are like actually 2 layers of firewall. The first thing, if you still remember in module 3, you did this firewall-cmd thing. That is a service called firewall D. This is like the upper layer of the firewall, and there's a lower level of the firewall. It's called IP tables. And for this module, we're just looking into the IP tables. So let's just check if I'm still okay. I'm still in the host. So IPA. Okay, now I'm on CentOS. Let's go. Not on the client anymore. So first, let's just because we are configuring firewall, supposedly we should do this on the root user. First thing first, let's get rid of the upper level of this firewall, the firewall D service, so we don't get disturbed by its effect. And IP tables, you can use this -L to check all the rules. Because we disable this firewall D, like nothing will be there, but you can but that's how we practice, right? For IP tables, you can use -I, uppercase I for insert. So you insert rule to this thing are called chain. Basically, it's like group of policy. Group of rules, inbound rules, output rules, outbound rules, this kind of thing. And you use -g for jump. This is the action you want to act on everything you put before, or every like a selection or limitation or filter, this kind of thing you put before, and you can try to do IP tables L again to list all the rules you have, and you can use IP tables -F to flush everything, and you can start write every rule by your own. And yeah, so IP tables with -A, so this is append, because if you put I here, if everything else after it is not specified, it will be like actually removed. But append will just add what you have been specifying. So for this input chain, I want to -i as the interface. For localhost, I want you to accept all the traffic. So let's IP tables -L, and I probably should make this smaller. And you can see this rule has been added right here. And you can also do other things like using -M for match. So I want set rules for certain traffic that match the state. So what kind of state? Use -S state. The state that has been established. I just hope I can spell, and related. And you can observe the rule has been added here, and you can also specify certain protocols, like you can use P, like the protocol you want to set up for the rule for TCP, and you can also set up the port, the destination port, D port here, like 22, often used as SSH port, and IP tables -L, and you can find out SSH has been added here. And you can also use IP tables -uppercase P. This is setting the default policy for a chain. So for this chain, if you didn't specify it, if this is the condition you have never set up any rules for that. So what can you do? So for input, if this doesn't fit all the rules here, I'm just gonna let them all drop out and simply apply to the forward. But for the outbound rules, because I am the one outputting, so I probably want to accept everything here. And you can always verify everything with L, or you can use -V, just like mmap, to make everything more detailed and verbose. And to test if this file is working, so just start the Apache. We just used it in the last module. Start. So after this, supposedly we should be able to see localhost. Yeah, the localhost web page is already up. You can get them. But I'm sorry about me losing voice and not speaking quite well. And let's start another machine in the same network, and if Firefox actually decide to work, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And if they're all in the same subnet, but if you actually try to type the IP address of the web server, it's not gonna work, because you haven't. Remember, before you need to do this firewall -cmd thing. That's literally punching the hole on the firewall so the website can be accessed. Because remember, the default policy for input for inbound traffic is actually drop. So just like what you did to port 22, probably want to do 80 for HTTP. Punch the hole here, and it works immediately. And if you check, you can't actually ping this machine, because ping is using another protocol utilizing called ICMP. I don't know if they're different protocol, but you need to do this. You need to specify this ICMP, make sure they're allowed, and you can ping this machine now. And this is for CentOS. And for Windows Server, it's actually quite straightforward because Microsoft is really good at putting everything in the graphical interface. Let's just see my recording is still there. Otherwise, I'm going to be so mad. So you go to this server manager thing, tools, you can see this firewall and advanced security. You click on that, you can see all the rules has been applied here. And let's just add another inbound rule. So Windows Server is hosting website as well. So localhost give you this thing, right? So I believe 2016 is 6, yes. So there are 6. Let's just use client 1 because you already have Firefox. And if you change this to 6, you can see this host that Windows Server is hosting. But you can also configure firewall rules to reject certain IP from accessing the website you are hosting. So you create a custom rules on all program for all TCP protocol specific ports on myself. Remember, this is local port on 80 as HTTP, and you apply this rule to certain IP. So for client 1 is 11, and we block it. That's the action we want to do. It's like the jump. I will block you, and you just apply. It will be here, and see it's enabled. So now, if you're on client 1, if you refresh this page, you won't be able to get anything from it. Because you have been blocked out. That is one of the how you validate your firewall is working. And I guess that will be all for this focus. And some other things that is in the skill master but not in this practical test focus. One of the things is ZenMap, but ZenMap is literally you just, if you are logging as root, you just ZenMap. It's just like a more user-friendly graphical rule for a map. You see, even you give user command here, you will see the same terminal output here, and you will see like they are more like organized and graphical feedback here. Besides that, yeah, probably the usage of Hydra. So it's basically like use the password dictionary and you try to brute force one port. Snort is probably not in the exam. I remember hear this from David. This is not from practical. This is not in the practical exam. And yeah, probably the SSH port forwarding. So I don't know if they're gonna be the practical, but yeah, probably in the Milo quiz as well. So that will be all. All the best. Thank you.